What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me in my dreams. And when life gets challenging, I need a bank that's focused on what matters. Not to mention one that's been top rated by Forbes in trust, customer service, financial advice, and more. That's why when it comes to meeting my banking needs, it's always NBT. Learn more at nbtbank.com. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome and thanks for tuning in. This is Tom Hickey from 2020 Media, and you are listening to NBT Bank's On the Scene podcast, reaching over 250,000 readers through Jewish Ledger, weha.com, and West Hartford Magazine, live 24/7, 365. And as always, every week, I could never do this without my partner, Bob Carr, presenting On the Scene, and special thanks to our sponsor, again, NBT Bank. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Tom. So thank you, Tom. Thanks for that. Tom Hickey, along with myself, Kosik Makati, and Ronnie Newton, is a founder of weha.com. Tom brings to West Hartford the Connecticut Jewish Ledger, West Hartford Magazine, which is West Hartford's original lifestyle magazine, the various tastes of West Hartford, the best of West Hartford, which will be celebrating its 10th anniversary this fall, and other fun events throughout the year. Our podcast is assembled and posted by the Modern Observer Group of Middletown, Connecticut, and today our guests are Leah Farrell, who's a programs and outreach librarian, and Karp, who's team services librarian, both from the West Hartford library system. How are you guys doing today?
We're awesome. Also, I feel like we're a little tired because we're revving up for our biggest event of the year in a week and a half.
All right.
Which is why we're here today.
I was going to ask about that. I was the term worm, I actually never knew that term. WYRM. Does anybody ever call you up and say, hey, you spelled the word wrong?
I don't know, Kari, or have they?
We get that question sometimes on the reference desk because we have bookmarks promoting the Bookwyrm Fest, and people are like, you spelled this incorrectly. And I kind of have to educate them a little bit that the WYRM actually is terminology for dragon, which is something that I did not know a year ago.
I didn't know that either. See, you just learned on the podcast.
I did know it because I'm a nerd, but
yeah,
just to get that on the table.
Yeah, so I looked that up this morning. It's a dragon. It's a dragon that's of German or Nordic descent, right? And it doesn't have any wings, or it features more like a snake.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask a silly question and maybe even give them a plug? Is that what the mascot is for Kingswood, Oxford? No. Am I crazy?
Ooh. That's a tough question.
All right, so if anyone's listening, if anyone's
call
listening,
the reference desk, they'll
you got it. Exactly. You got to tell us. I think so, though, because I think, Bob, when you were talking about the dragon with no wings, I think those are the what do you call it? Greens on their logo. Anyway, yeah. So who knows?
They're promoting you year round. So
all right, Jackie Pisani is the marketing person. Come on, Jackie, let us know.
So whose idea was it to do this festival, and where did it come from, and kind of give us a background and when it's going to be?
Okay. So this was before Leah came to the library. This was my idea because we have Dungeons and Dragons programs for teens at the library, which are super popular. We've been doing them for 2 years. We have 5 different campaigns, 2 teen campaigns, 3 tween campaigns. So on any given week, we have 20 teens coming to the library to play tabletop role-playing games. So we knew that this was something that was popular in our community. So I spoke with the players, I spoke with some of the staff, and we had this idea that since Dungeons and Dragons is so popular in West Hartford, maybe we should offer some kind of large program at the library celebrating this game. So it kind of turned into a convention that we wanted to hold at the library, and we didn't know how successful it was going to be, but we knew that we had these 20 teens, their parents, their friends. So we were figuring we'd have at least like 100 people show up at the library.
Got kind of a Renaissance fair aspect to it from what I've seen in pictures. So
yeah.
So is that something you draw on as well?
Yeah, it's like a celebration of multiple things. So it's like role-playing games, live action role play, Renaissance fair, fantasy, and then just food and music and all kinds of nerdy activities that seem to resonate with me, my age group, but also the young ones, and also the older adults as well seem to enjoy these kinds of things.
And you can learn how to use a sword. I read that. So my grandson, who now is 4, when he was 3, he had these swords, and I'd go over and on a winter's day, and we would just sword fight for seemingly hours, but it was only like 15 minutes. So he exhausted me running around. He would
Yeah.
actually stay on guard, and then he would attack me. He'd have 2 swords, almost like the Sith Lord from we'll all be nerdy here from Star Wars. And he came after me with 2, and I only had 1. I was lost, So, but how does what kind of swords do you use?
I don't know, Kari, that's a good question.
Yeah, so we don't actually use the swords. We have some professionals here who are from Myth LARP. They're an organization that dresses up and has these fake fights going on. So they use foam, I believe, swords, nothing dangerous. And there are people dressed up as knights, so you can fight the knight in a little circle, and you can joust with them, but it's all very safe. We had little kids doing it last year. We had their parents. It was just a fun activity for everybody.
And where do you do this, Kari? Sounds like, is it outside? Sounds like you need some room for it.
Yeah, so the Bookwyrm Fest was pretty ambitious. Like the goal was to take over every single room of the library. So we took over the lawn on South Main Street. We took over Blueback Square. There's stuff happening in the children's area, the meeting room, the story room, the board room, even people's offices. So pretty much every single square footage of the library is being used.
And when we say library in this particular event, it's the West Hartford Center Library, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, great.
Yep. The Noah Webster Library in Blueback Square.
Right on South Main Street, if no one knows where that is. So just look for Noah, right? Just look, he's right in front.
Yes.
So how many years has it been going on? How long has this been going on for you guys?
This is only year 2.
Only year 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Kari, you mentioned that last year you expected 100 people, but how many did you actually get?
I think when the door count was counted, it was around 1,000 people.
Get out of here.
Yes.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Yes. This year we're anticipating a lot more people because we have Leah here. She's been doing publicity. I believe there's a banner out on Farmington Avenue this week that people can see. There's going to be signs up in front of the library. So she's done an awesome job on social media, getting the word out there that this program is happening on July 13th.
Well, I'm just going to say, because when Bob sent me your names the other day, Leah, Farrell, and Karp, they sound like movie stars. So I think that people should just be showing up just because of your name. This is an event put on by Leah Farrell and Karp. It's like,
we are library famous.
Right? Yeah, I think so. It sounds that way. Yeah.
Yeah, so this year's is Saturday, this coming Saturday, July 13th, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. right at Noah Webster. People don't have to come all day, but they could come for an hour. They can come for all 5 hours. It's going to be amazing, fun, chaos for all ages. I can't.
And is there a fee or anything, like a cost to come, or do
Nope.
people come? No.
This is a library. It's free.
Yeah.
We'll have vendors selling stuff, but that's really the only cost associated.
Great.
Good.
Yeah.
So to move beyond Bookwyrm, what are the other things that Leah, what is it that you're besides promoting this? And we've been at the West Hartford Chamber of Commerce meeting, and you mentioned it, and I went, that sounds like a cool thing for WeHide.com to advertise. So what other things do you guys do? What are your responsibilities? Unless this is a full year event, but sometimes they are. What are the responsibilities that you have at the library?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm basically the head of adult programming and our publicity department, and also our makerspace. We have the Studio 20 South makerspace that opened, Kari, like 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And we just got a lot of new equipment, and that is kind of exploding right now.
And Bob, I think I told you about that, or any listeners, and correct me if I'm wrong, Leah, is Sam still involved with
Yeah,
that?
it's Sam. The guy with the hat.
Yeah. And Sam had, what were we doing, Bob? We were doing the dogs?
I don't know, but
I can't remember if it was a bear or a dog, but whatever it was, Sam painted one of them. And that's how I met him. And I had, again, thinking, I know everything about West Hartford. You don't know everything about West Hartford. And I knew nothing about that studio being built. And we went in, and remember Bob gave a whole training session for John Lyons and Ronnie and myself and Judy. It was really interesting. It was great. So there's all kinds of things you don't know about.
Yeah, I think, this event and things like the studio are important showcases for how libraries have transformed. And we are more than just books. I think we're still, our ethos is still the same, where we're providing the public access to resources and services that they might not otherwise have access to. It just looks a little bit different. It's not just books anymore. It's 3D printing, it's AV, it's audio design, it's Bookwyrm Fest. Those are the things, and it's such an exciting time for libraries.
Yeah,
We're so lucky.
maybe you remember. I don't remember, but we were talking one time on one of our podcasts with someone, and somehow we got into the library, and I was a discussion, and I was talking about how this gentleman David Mello was telling us that he goes to a program, and people from all over the area, as far away as New Jersey, come to the library because they talk about the New York Times on a weekly basis.
Yeah,
It's some group. It was really
every Friday.
every Friday. Yeah. And you're
Oh,
just
it's the New Yorker. It's
the New Yorker. Oh, the New Yorker. Okay.
we also have an Atlantic discussion group, but the New Yorker group meets every single Friday, like clockwork. They do it hybrid. Some people come in virtually, some people come in person, but in our boardroom, they're able to all meet at the same time. And they dive right into the issue of the week, and they go through the whole magazine. It's really fun to listen to, because I'll sit in my office and run the Zoom, and it's great. We have so much fun little things there that, there's like a pocket of people who know about it and they're really involved with it, but maybe not everybody knows.
Well, if it's a room, if David, if you're listening, which he usually is, but he's a brainiac. So I'm the kind of person, I'm like a sponge. I could just sit there and listen to him for hours on end. I don't remember any of it, but but it's fascinating to listen to him. Speak of it. So I could imagine a whole group of people like that together must be fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, check it out. I
Yeah.
highly recommend. They always welcome new folks.
Great.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the New Yorker.
Everything we do is open to everyone. That's, the beauty of it. There may be some like age restrictions, like speaking of gaming, we just started the West Hartford Tabletop Game Club. A community member came to Kari and said, I see you're doing all these D&D games for kids, but what about for adults? And then she directed him to me, and now we have this adults group, Tabletop Game Club. We're in our second season of games, and everybody just gets together and plays D&D or Savage Worlds or all kinds of things, and it's been really successful.
Interesting.
So how did you guys, individually, how did each of you come to the library, to work at libraries? I know Kari mentioned she was a teacher earlier. I think you mentioned that.
Yes.
Yeah. So how did you end up as a librarian, which we don't talk politics here, but I know there are librarians are a radical group of people. So that's been said out there in the marketplace. So how did you end up in the library world? Both of you.
I'm a little older than Leah, so I'll start. So yeah, I was a teacher like about 20 years ago. I've always enjoyed working with teens, but something about the library always called to me. Like I worked in a library in college and I just wanted to get back to that. So when I was a teacher, I got my master's degree in library science, and I saw a position open up at the West Hartford Library in the circulation department. I went for it. And a year later, I was promoted to the teen librarian because I had that teaching background. So I've been doing it for 11 years and I totally love it. Love coming to work every day. I get to order books. I get to run programs for teens. I get to work with about 100 different volunteers at the library on different projects in the town. So it's very fulfilling. And like Leah said, libraries are not what people think they are. Like we don't just check books in and out. Like we're really about making connections with people. And I'm very lucky that I get to make connections with teens.
Yeah, and can I say that Kari is one of the most passionate librarians I know, and that's such a special thing to have for someone who serves teens, because they get so much out of the library that they don't get in other spaces.
Mm, mm.
Nice. And how did you end up, Leah? How did you end up here? Or at the library?
My story isn't as sweet, I guess. Maybe I
Make
I
it
wanted
up,
to
there you
be
go. Make it up. Go ahead.
I wanted to be a folklorist, which is not a good career. And the area of study I wanted to work in, I basically found out my senior year of college that it really wasn't going to work. Um, and my mom was close with the Bloomfield library director at the time, because I'm from Bloomfield originally. And she was like, Leah should just go to library school. And I was like, all right. So I went straight from college to library school for 2 years, did that. Started working at a organization that serves the libraries all over the state, called Connecticut Library Consortium. From there, I was at Farmington Library for 5 years in a similar role to what I have now. And then I was at Wallingford Library for 3.5. And then last year, this position opened up and I was like, oh my God, like this is perfect for me. It's the community that I grew up in. And I used to go to the West Hartford libraries as a kid. And luckily enough, they said, okay, you can work here. And it's just been amazing. This organization is so special, and all 3 locations and the staff and the community. I'm having a blast, and it's a lot of work, but it's so worth it. I'm loving it, loving it.
Well, one of the things that the outreach and having a community base, with how we know each other and met, is through the West Hartford Chamber of Commerce has its AM Connection meetings twice a month at the library in the base and that's your space there.
Yeah.
But space there. And that's another aspect of it, right? That the community can utilize the services and for no cost. And it's and for people who do not know, chambers of commerce are not for-profit organizations, so they are a nonprofit, a different kind of nonprofit, but they, having that space, we wouldn't be able to afford it to have those meetings. And then, you do connect with folks. So it's that was just a perfect example for me of how libraries are different than we anticipate or believe that they are. Right. Yeah. So how has it, just either one of you? I mean, I'm sorry, Tom. I love libraries.
No, it's great.
Every time my wife and I move anywhere, first thing we do, we register to vote, and then we go get a library card.
Woohoo! Love that.
Those are our 2 things. So how have the libraries changed, and what's what do you think the impetus of those changes are? Because you're no longer just going for books, or you don't no longer going for, say, research or music. It's got a wide range of services. How do you think they've evolved? If you have a clue, I don't.
Kari, do you have any thoughts on that? I have some, but you can go first.
Definitely we just change with the times and based on what people in the community are telling us. So like right now, ebooks, e-journals, e-video is having a moment. So we definitely are promoting those services to patrons. Like we said, the gaming we do a lot of, because we noticed during the pandemic that people were feeling disconnected from other people. So we're trying to create these opportunities for people to come to the library, meet other people, have fun. Yeah, we just adapt pretty much to what people are telling us, and try to give people what they want.
Yeah, I think that's a very good, we've always adapted to the technology that people need access to, or the services that they need. A lot has changed just since COVID. Obviously, we do a lot more virtual programming or hybrid programming because that's an access issue. Some people still are, it's difficult for them to leave their homes because of, COVID, or just, physical capabilities, or time. They got little kids. We added study pods to give to folks more study space. But I think this focus on service and community need, and libraries are one of the last places where you can, no matter what walk of life you come from or what you look like, you come in and you'll be treated with respect, and you will be nothing will be asked of you. You can just sit there. No one's going to ask you to buy a coffee, or there are so few spaces like that in this world. And the library is, we're here. I always tell people to go to the library first, because it's going to be the most welcoming space you find in the community. And it's such a good introduction to a community too.
And you know, Bob, that's what I was sitting here thinking about. That's my takeaway. Go to the library first. It's amazing, because I think, I don't know, maybe someone like me was just thinking that the library was some dinosaur, or something, whatever. But you've really look at all that you've done and look at what you've evolved. And I loved whoever was telling the story about the adult gaming. If someone has an idea, they just bring it up and talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a place where you can gather with people and get information. I mean, that's huge. When people move here, they're like, where is everything? Where's the town hall? People don't, I mean, it's big, but it's kind of, it's not super self-explanatory. And we're that place for people. And a lot of the people who joined the Tabletop Game Club in particular are people who moved to Connecticut, to West Hartford in particular during COVID, and we're looking for, adults don't necessarily have, if you're new to an area, it's really hard to socialize. You don't have a school setting where it's kind of built in. So having an opportunity at the library to do that and just connect with your neighbors in a structured way is, especially for adults, is really special.
Excellent.
Very cool. I will say that when I was a salesman, I was on the road for about 40 years, and my go-to place to stop forever, especially once these things changed, your iPhones and your laptops came with you everywhere you went, was the library. Yeah, because you do have that space. You do have the space where it's quiet space. And, as long as I'm not talking on the phone, I'm using it as a tool, or my laptop, same thing. You just sit somewhere, and then you can also, then if you see a New York Times, I surprised my kids years ago by knowing who Lady Gaga was, because I was walking through the library, and there was an article in Rolling Stone. She was on the cover of Rolling Stone, said, this woman seems interesting. So I read it. And a day or two later, somebody brought her name up. And I was thinking, I know all about Lady Gaga, at least up to that.
I know who that is. Yeah.
I know who that is. I know what she's been doing. So, I think that's something that when you go walk into a library, you have the ability to explore it without anyone, like you were saying. You always come up and say, can I help you? Are you going to buy this? Get out of my play, buy or leave. You can spend a lot of time there, which I truly appreciate.
Beautiful. All right. Well, as always, we are out of time, but I do need to thank our guests for joining us today. Without NBT Bank as our sponsor, none of this would be possible. So we thank them for making this possible for everyone who's tuning in and listening. And I guess the takeaway today is to go to the library. You don't have to ask for Kari or for Leah. Just go into the library and get your card if you don't have one, right, Bob? And make yourself known, and they'll help you out. So that's my takeaway anyway. That's what I'm going to do. I do have a library card, but I am going to make sure that I stop in and ask lots of questions, because like you guys had said, I wouldn't have known anything about the 3D printer in the podcast room if Sam hadn't told me. So you just don't know how much there is.
We had the event coming up. We have the event coming up, July 13th, Bookwyrm event, which is why we're originally on here. And I think that's important, is at the Noah Webster Library on South Main Street in West Hartford. And I think that's it.
Beautiful. So thanks for tuning in, and join us next time when we are on the scene in your neighborhood. Thank you.
What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me in my dreams. And when life gets challenging, I need a bank that's focused on what matters. Not to mention one that's been top rated by Forbes in trust, customer service, financial advice, and more. That's why when it comes to meeting my banking needs, it's always NBT. Learn more at nbtbank.com. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.